introduce myself. My name is Lieutenant Kathy McCulley. I am the current Corps officer here at the Salvation Army Bishop Corps. It's an exciting thing. What it means to be a Corps officer first, let me tell you. It just means that I am the pastor here. I'm the senior pastor here for this church. The area that you are in right now, this room, this is our chapel. And I know it doesn't look like any normal chapel you may have seen, but you know, we here in Bishop don't have a normal ministry. We have a very unique ministry, and I'm looking forward to telling you about that here in just a moment. First off, I just want to take a moment and just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here. It really means a lot to me. This announcement that we're about to make is something very exciting, and it's come very dear to my heart. I'd also like to say a special thank you to a few people who have come to join us. First, our Mayor of Bishop, David Stottlemyre. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you coming. And Councilmember Jeff Griffiths, right? And very good to see you. And we also have Marty Fortney, District 4 Supervisor for Inyo County. And we also have Mr. Scott Semino. He is with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. Let me see, we have April. She's over here with the Bishop Chamber of Commerce. Also, right here in front, or close to the front, we have Lieutenant Colonels Steve and Marcy Smith. They are the divisional commanders for the Golden State Division of the Salvation Army. And what that means is that this district of the upper Northern California area, he's the boss. She's the boss. Also, a few people that came up to help me with this, which I couldn't do without them at all. We have our Major Gifts Officer, Laura Whitehouse. She's with the Salvation Army. She's based out of Fresno. And every 2 weeks, she drives up here to help me. We also have Art Stein over here. He is our Planned Giving Director, correct? For the whole entire division. And I do believe that's that. So, again, I was talking to you about our chapel and the unique ministry that we have. So you might wonder, why do you have tables in your chapel, Lieutenant McCulley? I have tables in my chapel because not only do we feed the soul, but we feed the body as well. Every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, the whole entire community is welcome to come. We have breakfast before church. And you know, if you don't get a chance to finish your breakfast, that's okay. You can still sit at the table and finish what you have in front of you while we start worship. And it works. It works. We also have other programs as well that meet in here, such as our men's ministries. And you know, I think it's a common theme with the Salvation Army because when they meet on Tuesday night, they have dinner. And everybody in the community is welcome. We'll feed everybody. And on Thursdays, we have a women's ministries program in here. And that common theme, we have lunch. And yes, you're welcome to come and join us. We do have a reception area to the side of this room. That's where we have our Cup of Cold Water social services office, in which we help people with food and clothing. And if we have the funding, we can help with rent and utilities. We also help with emergency lodging. And, you know, in some cases, if we have some people who are in need, or maybe even they've been burned out of their home, and I have the items at the thrift store, then we can help with furniture as well. So whatever we have, we give back. After the press conference this morning, if you're interested and would like a small tour of our wonderful facility, you can either seek out myself or one of my soldiers. They would be in the uniform with the blue S's, and they would be more than happy to take you through and show you the different areas of the building and what we use them for. Um, at the moment, I'm going to hand this over to Lieutenant Colonel Steve Smith, and he's going to be talking to you more about the growing needs in our community here in Bishop.
Thank you, Kathy. It truly is a pleasure to be here today. A little bit about Kathy. She is, first of all, almost a one-person show here. She has a little bit of help. She definitely has people like Rob who volunteer and help her. But as she mentioned, she's the senior pastor. I'd say that she's the senior pastor, the junior pastor, and whatever type of pastor else you want to give her. But she's doing a great job. We're going to look back in history briefly here, but I wanted to say that she is the first newly commissioned Salvation Army officer to be assigned in Bishop. Now, we do have the Major over here, Major Bowman, who did fill in for about 9 months here in retirement, and so he counts too. We've actually had 2 commissioned officers, 3 counting his wife. But this says something about the Army's commitment to Bishop, the fact that we would send a commissioned Salvation Army officer here. Now, we go way back here. In the 1950s, the Salvation Army existed in this community as a small group of volunteers that dispensed services on behalf of the Salvation Army. This is a very typical program that we call service extension that is done in many small communities throughout the Salvation Army. But it's interesting to see how it developed here in Bishop. It didn't stay just a small committee with no official full-time Salvation Army presence. Later on, it became graduated up in our own internal terminology to a service center. And then in 2003, I just dated myself, 2003, it became what we call an outpost. Now, an outpost is when you're almost there to full Corps status. It wasn't quite there yet. That's kind of like internally in the Salvation Army, we're thinking about it. Should we really make this a full Corps, or should we just, should it be just a little under the radar there? Well, Salvation Army moved forward here in Bishop, and in 2010 became a full-fledged Salvation Army Corps. And in our particular region, we have 30 Salvation Army Corps that we oversee. But that's great. What it should show you in this community that the Salvation Army has been here for a long time and that we're not going anywhere. We want to be here for a long time into the future. And what we need to do is to be able to have a permanent home that's our own. And that's what this is all about. There's a couple of, I think, really good reasons for that. One is it certainly establishes our presence in one location here in the community, that we can be assured that we will be in that location into the future, well into the future. It allows us to serve people in a much more efficient way. You will know that in about 2008, the Salvation Army opened a thrift store in this community. Well, now both of these units are separated, and again, Kathy has to oversee both of them. And our plan is to put them into one building where we can do all of our community programs and have our thrift store in the same place. Second one is a very practical matter. If you, and most of you here, are familiar with the Salvation Army and you support us, and we appreciate that, one of the reasons you may support us is that we try to use every penny to the best possible use. And we would like to have our own facility so that we can control costs, so that we are not paying rents and be able to take that money that we would normally pay to rent and so forth and use it in the community. So it's a very, I think, simple objective here. But we've got a great plan, and after we're done here, I want you to look over there. Lainey, you can point there. There we go. Very nice. Those are our plans for our building here. We do have a piece of property, as you may know, right next to the old Kmart. And we have plans to put up a structure and be able to have a permanent home. Let's just make sure I've covered everything I was supposed to. Yeah, I think I did. So I'm grateful to be here, and we're thankful for Kathy. We're thankful for all of you and your support of the Salvation Army.
Thank you, Colonel Smith. Now, in our Cup of Cold Water Social Services office, I thought I might just share with you. We do some amazing things. In the year of 2011, we served over 3,100 people in the Inyo-Mono counties. We provided 2,173 meals, 3,119 food boxes, and we also provided additional assistance to families during the holidays. From that, we have wonderful people that come in to see us. And those wonderful people stay. And here in just 1 second, as soon as we get it queued up, I'd like to share a video of one of those people. Her name is Linda, and she's going to tell you how she became a friend of the Salvation Army.
At the time, me and my son was homeless, and I didn't have no place to go because he got kicked out of one of his apartments. And I was living with him at the time for a run until I found a place. And so anyways, the only person I could ever think about was Pat, because she was so good. I used to live next door to her. I told Donnie, I said, well, the only thing I know to do is maybe go over and ask her if I could stay up, a few days or something. So anyways, we went over there, and she never turns anybody down. She's just the sweetest lady I could ever meet. Her brother, he was real good too. If I had to go anywhere, or like the drugstore to get my prescriptions or anything like that, he was willing to take me. And so she took me in, and I stayed there a little longer than I was supposed to because I couldn't find a place because it was so expensive. They're the ones that brought me here to church. Okay. They introduced me to, the other ones in here. They were all real nice to me, especially Paula. She's been real good too. She's really good. Anyways, I stayed there for quite a while, and so after I did finally find a place. It's a nice trailer, and we kind of managed it, but there's things that has to be done to it, like I say. But other than that, it's okay. Well, anyways, we finally moved in, got ourselves pretty well settled and everything. But Donnie, he's kind of funny. He always kind of depends on me to pay things, and I can't do it. So I told him, I says, okay, Donnie, I says, I'll pay the rent thing, but I said, you're going to have to pay the electricity. But then sometimes he slips, and he don't pay that electricity. So I end up paying it plus the rent. And I told him, I said, I can't do it. I said, I've got other things I've got to get done. So anyways, we get along pretty good. He's been trying. That's, but of course, last month, Kathy helped me out because we got behind on our rent and the electricity, and she was beautiful to help me out, and I sure do appreciate it because I don't know what we would have done. Well, I really enjoyed going to church. Again, I used to go to church a lot. I had some friends that went to church, and I used to go to church a lot. And this is the first time I've gone back to church, and I've really enjoyed it. I've met new friends, and just like with Kathy, she's just been wonderful. It's like a second home. It's just beautiful. I love it. I enjoy going there and and making things, and stuff like that, and and stuff. I really enjoy it. It's a lot to me. It really is. Because I just don't know what I'd do if I didn't have them around. Because nobody else will help. So she's been a lot of help. And I sure did appreciate her coming, helping me with the rent thing and stuff. Because I don't know what I would have done. I thank the Salvation Army for everything they've done for me, and I sure do thank them. Thank you very much.
There's another gentleman here that I didn't get a chance to introduce to you earlier because I wanted to introduce him to you now. He is a member of our advisory board team. His name is Larry Clark, and I'd like to ask him if he wouldn't mind coming up, and he has a few things to share with you this morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
That's Linda back there. They asked me to share with you today as a member of the advisory board, and I asked them when we got our little meeting together, what would you like me to share? And they said, oh, just tell them what you tell us. That could be a problem because I was, for a long time, pretty dissatisfied with the Salvation Army. I was on the board and couldn't get answers, couldn't get involvement. Obviously, they were here, they were doing their job, but I always thought, and actually some of the leadership that was here, always wanted more. And I think the community wanted more. And so that frustration let me back away a bit, and then Kathy came on board. And the Salvation Army made a commitment to some land and made a commitment to our community saying, we're here for you, and as was said earlier, we're not going away, and we're going to continue to be here for you, and we're going to continue to provide. And Linda's story is just one little story. I mean, they helped when we had the flood in Independence. They've helped when we've had the fires in Big Pine. They help on a daily basis when people come into town who can't afford something just because maybe their car broke down. And they can't afford to live in a place, or they can't afford to find a hotel room, or they can't afford to eat that night. And the Salvation Army provides for them and makes sure that they have those things that they need, even if it's on a short-term basis. But they do things, as you can see with Linda, even on a long-term basis. Their commitment is here to Inyo County. I retired as an educator here in Bishop and was looking for something to do in my retirement. I'm glad that someone by the name of Kathy Henderson asked me to get involved in the Salvation Army, and I'm glad that I was able to be involved with people like Mike on this board. I want you to know that the Salvation Army is as big as the hearts in Inyo County. So whatever we have to offer, the Salvation Army just extends it to the people that are here. It's nice to know, if you're going to take the tour today, it would be nice of you to drop by the thrift store. If you want to see a tour, try touring the back part of the thrift store. That is, if you can get through the back part of the thrift store. Actually, Mike's done a wonderful job taking care of that facility, and I want you to really recognize Mike when you go in. He's done a lot to make this area self-sufficient in what he's done in setting up that store. Today, they've asked me to speak about what they're doing in the way of launching a capital campaign, and I want you to know that the capital campaign target is $1 million. Well, I said to him, wait a minute, $1 million? If we had every woman, child, man, dog, whatever, in Inyo County contribute $40, we might make it. And they said, nah, no problem, we'll get there. And so, in this $1 million campaign, I want you to know, not only have we already received commitments before today's announcement, but as of this morning, it was my understanding that we stand at $264,806 already committed to this capital campaign. That's huge. That's huge. We're almost a third of the way there, and we haven't even taken it to the public until right now. So I want you to know that it's my commitment to stay on the board and to stay committed. It's the Salvation Army's commitment to bring in the Christian spirit when we're taking God out of the invocation or when we're taking God out of the schools. It's their commitment to be dependent, going from a satellite to now a core. And so I hope you'll continue to support and give all you can to our capital campaign. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Larry. Well, that's it. $1 million. And it seems like it's something out there in the universe. But I'll tell you what I tell my congregation. With God, all things are possible. God will supply all of our needs. I'm living proof. So with that, again, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day and coming to my house and sharing this with me. I'd also like to share from my house some refreshments that are in the back. Again, tours will be available if you're interested in taking a look, and you're more than welcome to come down to the thrift store. Just remember to pull your wallet out of your pocket and buy a $5 bag of clothing. I'm going to open this up for questions and answers. If anybody has any questions, I have the wonderful Laura Whitehouse in the back, and I have the wonderful Art Stein over here. They have all the answers.
No pressure.
No pressure. But again, thank you so much for coming out and spending your quality time with us. Thank you.